What is up, my Planet Coaster friends? Johnny5 Live here, and we're back with another episode of Yeti Land Let's Play. And we're finally finishing our train station. So in today's episode, we're going to be getting technically our first ride in. So stay tuned, and let's check it out. Alright, let's just jump right into it. So it's been a long time coming. We've custom built all train stations. So we have the Ice Castle, we have the Yeti Station, we have the Gingerbread Station, we have the Destroyed Gingerbread Station, and we have the Sci-Fi Skytrain Station that took us 15 hours to build. The other ones didn't take us nearly as long. Well, maybe the Gingerbread one took pretty long. But we did that for both our 1,000 subscriber special, and we also did it for our just to partake in the festive fun. So here we are. I'm just finally trying to finish the loop, finish the circuit, because we have all 5 stations in. And as I've mentioned in previous episodes, it can be a little bit frustrating trying to do the train stations, because you can't just put a train station into a building blueprint and then run the track and connect it into that station. You have to build the station off the tracks, and I'm sure they're going to change that in the future, because it seems like a lot of people don't like this, and it's just a minor improvement that could be made. Nonetheless, there is a workaround, and it's just getting that station to where you kind of think you need it and then placing your building over top of it. But it does make it a little bit tricky at times. So because we're just smashing this train through the terrain, we got it to our ice station there. I just wanted to go back and do a little bit of tweaking to the terrain and make it look a little bit nicer. So there's just going to be a little bit of terrain, playing around with the terrain a little bit in this episode. It's going to be a fairly quick episode. I think, let's see, take a look at the footage. It's about 20 minutes. Maybe less. Yeah, it's probably about 18 minutes. I don't know. But there is a spot where we go to regular speed and we actually ride the train. So we get to actually ride the train in this episode. So it's a mini coaster spotlight series, you could say. So we got that all hooked up. We got the train, and we knew, like, in terms of the plan, we knew that this area is going to eventually become like a sci-fi area, or a park area. So I was thinking, when I was trying to run this train over there, I didn't want it to be, like, the map is the small Arctic map. They did an update a while ago, and I mentioned this in a previous video, where the map is now bigger than it was when it was first released. Unfortunately, we're stuck on the small map. So because the map is kind of small, we don't have too much room to work. So I had the idea of running the train underground. That way the track, because that little bit of track, that inch or two across the border, you're going to, it's going to get in the way of making more rides. And then you have to, have the rides on the inside and leave a little space between the track and the ground, which gives you even less space. So I didn't want this like 4 inches all the way around the corner of the map where we couldn't build. So I decided to go underground, and it would also give it a nice experience. And as I mentioned, this is kind of how we've been doing our train throughout the map already. We've already built half the train, so we're just trying to finish it up, and it already goes through all these caverns and caves and goes underground in certain areas. And I want the train experience to be somewhat interesting. Now, one thing that's unfortunate about terrain, it doesn't count as decorations. So I'm worried that the guests will think it's a boring ride, but it is supposed to be used for terms of transportation. Now, hopefully, when the park is finally open and we finish it, if we make the ride very cheap or make it free, people will use it for transportation. So, we'll see. I mean, there's always the thought that I could put some sort of decorations inside the caves to increase the prestige. I mean, you could even cheese it and like just take basic shapes or something that's counts as decoration and just put it inside of like walls, and then that'll trick the game into thinking there's decorations there. I mean, I don't like the idea, but I mean, if we got to do something to get the prestige up on this train so people are packing on it. There's also the fact that I could put decorations inside the ice cave. Like, I just don't know what. Like, I guess I could do ice rocks and boulders and hanging ice bits. Other than that, I can't really think of too many things. We could have Yetis in the caves, but depending on where the station or where the tracks are, we can't have Yetis everywhere. So that's only, like, we're very limited to where we can do that. So I'm not really sure how we can get the prestige up on this train. And in my opinion, I like it to be an environmental experience. I like the fact that we have lights everywhere and everything is illuminated. We've put work into making the train experience enjoyable. It passes through these icy caverns and these beautiful views, and you know, it has buildings and stuff along the way. And when we do have a park eventually, when the track comes up, it'll be passing through a park. So maybe that park that we build around it or above it, if there's a park slightly above the cave because it's not too deep in the ground, maybe that will increase the prestige, just having a park above it. So I shouldn't really worry about it too much until like the end. But I'm pretty happy with the way it looks being plain. I mean, it's not too plain. It has lighting effects, but I think that's good enough. Now, I am considering putting some like icy boulders in there and stuff like that. But I don't know. That could look repetitive. It could look silly. Like I said, I do like the plainness of this, and just using the textures and the terrain paint tools and sculpting tools, I feel like that is enough. Right now it looks a little bit strange. It looks kind of like a perfect tunnel, so we will go in there with the terrain tool here and just kind of mess it up randomly. Just just messing it up, spreading it out a little bit, getting some depth to it. This also helps smooth it a little bit because the walls were a little bit jagged looking, because it just does it so strangely as the path is chewing through it. And we're cleaning up the texture, taking away the snow, putting in a rock. Then we're going to go in with our hard boulder texture and just kind of go in there and add some cracks and more detail to the rocks to make it feel a little bit more realistic in there. And then we're putting a little bit of frozen ice around the outsides and some of that stuff to the rest of the tracks as well. All the new spots that we put caves and areas in need to be touched up just a little bit. And yeah, I love the way these tunnels turned out though. It looks really good. It's out of the way. It's not taking up our park building space. Everything is tucked up nicely, and there's a lot of interesting bridges, tunnels, and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy with the end result, and I'm just checking out the train and taking a look at it here, and it's about to change now. We're going to actually ride it. So the weird thing is I can't hear the train right now because I have it muted. But when I do the editing process, I'm going to keep the sound in, so you guys will actually be able to hear it. So hopefully this works out. But right now it's kind of boring for me because I can't hear the sound of the tracks and all of that. But yeah, we're just going to ride the experience. So we started at the destroyed gingerbread station, and we're just going to ride this thing across the park and soak up all the views. Unfortunately, this is a pre-recorded footage, so I can't really look around while I'm talking. I probably should have just ridden this live, but now that I'm thinking about it, but it is what it is. I have the footage. We're looking at it now, so might as well just go with it. This was really a QA pass. I didn't intend this to be, I don't know, I just record everything I'm doing. So I was really riding this to double check everything. And as you can see, there's lights in these tunnels that are still exposed, and I didn't like that. So these are all things that are part of my quality assurance test. So I'm just double checking things. If we're passing through tunnels, I'm on the lookout for jagged looking polygons in the terrain, unpainted areas, textures that are looking right. I'm not actually sitting here enjoying or soaking up the experience. I'm really just double checking everything to make sure, okay, is this train done, and is there anything I have to fix once we're finished riding it? So I do in fact see a lot of things that I want to change it. It's just basically those lights at the beginning and a couple terrain tweaks. So after we're finished riding it, there's a little bit of footage left over on this video where I go in and fix those things, and it's only about a minute or so in length to get that all fixed, but we're at 6 times speed at that part of the video. And here we're coming up on the ice station. This has got to be one of my favorite parts. It just looks so awesome from a distance, and the top of that roof is purple. I changed that in the blueprint, so right now where it is today, it's actually matches the cylindrical style roofs. It's more black. But that whole area there is really cool, and I can't wait to see what it looks like when there's like a park there. I also really like this area because it's just so bouldery, and we're going under the belly of this rock that's curving over, and it's kind of like hugging the track. I don't know, something about this area I just really like, and it's so weird how these things come together when you're just randomly. I mean, it's all about doing things somewhat random and not overthinking it, and you get these, cool results from it that were not intended. So here we go, we're coming up on the Yeti station here. I love all these little Yetis hanging from the station, and we're going into the Yeti cave. I also really love the fact that it goes into the home of the Yetis, into the Yeti cave here. I kind of wish it did a bit more in terms of going around the Yeti cave, but the train track is really hard to go up on inclines. It's so slow, and it doesn't turn very fast, so it's best to try and avoid doing as much movement with these trains as possible. Now there is a train coaster that's like this, the mine ride or whatever it is. I really wish you could put multiple stations on those kind of coasters, because wouldn't it be cool to use a coaster as a transport ride, and then you could do a lot more wild things with them. Maybe one day in the future. This view is ridiculous. I think it turned out good. I'm really happy with that crazy station. So now we're switching the time to nighttime. I'm still kind of contemplating. Maybe you guys can leave your thoughts in the comments below. I'm contemplating, because we're making a scenario map, plus we're building a park. So there's going to be 2 uploads / 2 blueprints on my workshop at the end of this whole project. 1 scenario and 1 completed park. Now, I'm wondering for the scenario, because we've put so much work into the nighttime, I'm wondering if I should restrict this to being like a nighttime park, like it's open from 9 p.m. till 9 a.m. or something like that. So there's a little bit of daylight, there's the sun sets, and then the sun rises, and then it's back to nighttime again. And you get a little bit of daytime here and there, but 80% of the time it's a nighttime park. I'm thinking that might be a good idea, but I'm still unsure of it. But everything just looks so much better at nighttime on this park. But again, some of it looks really good at daytime as well. So maybe I could have a park that's open 24 hours, and then you get to experience both. I forgot to fix the lights on the inside of here, I think. The big cave. I'll definitely do another QA pass. The big entrance that we're passing through, the entrance, technically the entrance of the park right there. So we're gonna end up having to build a Yeti Land sign in the future and fill that cave up with a few attractions and shops. So I'll definitely have to do a QA pass in there after. So there's still a lot of work to be done over there. I was talking to somebody about Yeti Land. Someone said, is there Yeti Land shops? And I was looking through some blueprints and stuff. I found some igloos. I'm going to have to dig through the workshop some more. If you guys want to do me a favor and participate and partake in this project, take a look through winter / festive snowy blueprints for me on the Steam Workshop. See if you can find any gems. So I found like an igloo, like an ice house, like it was like an ice cube. I found a few other things that were like snow piles, all turned into shops. And I found one thing that was like a boat that crashed into a glacier, and it had a shop inside of it. I'm looking for stuff like that we can kind of put near our Yetis, because our Yetis, like where everywhere else in the park, we're going to be able to use fantasy buildings, fantasy shops and facilities, and then we're going to be able to put gingerbread shops and facilities on that part of the park. Same with our sci-fi. The only thing we don't have worked out yet is the Yeti Land shops. And I was thinking, yeah, we're going to need some shops and facilities over in Yeti Land. So I need some ideas or some blueprints from the workshop that consist of like icy shops and facilities. And I don't want to have to make them all myself, because this is going to take another 5 months if we do that. So in terms of the building of the park, we're going to be using some blueprints. So I definitely could use some help with that, and we'll have to see when we get there. But I have a few things in mind right now, only a handful, but I could definitely use a lot more ideas. One of the ideas I was having, it was just jamming the shops inside of these cave walls. And I dig out a little hole, and then I cover it up with rocks and snow or something like that, rocks and ice. And then, yeah, that's it. And it's just stores jammed into the side of the cave. I think that's one way about going about it. But out here in this like area, I think some little igloos and, you know, different things like that might be nice. So I have a few ideas, but I don't know if it's enough yet. So I could definitely use some suggestions or some links. So feel free to put them down in the comments below. And if you made it to the end of this episode, that is great, because I have a little teaser for you guys. This weekend I started building stuff. I didn't get too much done this weekend. However, we did build Darla. And for those of you who haven't been paying attention to the series, Darla is we were trying to name Mama Yeti, and we had a vote, and it was between Betsy and Darla, and Betsy won by 1 vote, and there was like 70 people who participated. So we decided we would make Darla a coaster in memory of her name. So I worked and I built Darla this weekend. So the next episode, which may be tomorrow or the next day, I don't know when I edit it and release it, it's going to be the building of our very first coaster. So that's exciting. It's not finished yet, but the coaster is smoothed out and the ride is technically complete. But we don't have any like triggered events. The lighting's not done and all that jazz. So, but the smoothing of the coaster's done, all that, and I'm pretty happy with the results of it. So an exciting episode around the corner, guys. And it looks like that's pretty much the end of the footage here. It's almost running out. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you like this video, please be sure to smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and let me know what you guys think of the finished train station down in the comments below. Alright everybody, I will see you guys in the next episode. Bye now.